Hello, I'm Shelley, and welcome to my new channel, Crimes in Court. Briefly, let me just give you just a bit of background. I had a channel, and I still do, Shelley's Flowers, where I go through growing for the flower farm, and I'm going to take that off so it's not, so I don't have any reflection from the glass. Yes, so I go through that, and and I've kind of slacked off. I used to make some videos about a year ago about courts and just give my reaction, but I didn't feel like they should be on the same channel because many flower farmers are not interested in court cases. Many people in court cases are just not interested in growing flowers. So it's kind of weird that I have those two interests. Today, let's talk about Karen Reed. We're in day 26 of her trial against the Commonwealth is bringing the charges in Massachusetts. And then we'll also talk just a second about Lori Vallow and the situation that actually happened yesterday about her being, quotes, sick. So this is just my reaction. I'm not an attorney. Let's just get into it. One thing I wanted you to know quickly is that I've had a stroke. It was not severe, but I did lose my speech for a few days. So part of my videoing is a way to kind of challenge myself to use my speech that I have as well as possible. Okay, Karen Reed case. People are polarized. Either you're for Karen Reed and you believe that she's been framed, or you're for the Commonwealth. And some of those I've really studied and looked at. It was like, this seems like these people just don't really like her. So that's just my opinion. Now today, our third witness that was called yesterday is Dr. Russell. And we did see her in the last trial. If you watched that, she seemed kind of rushed, discombobulated, a little overwhelmed with everything. But this time she's had more time to organize her thoughts, to kind of work through everything diligently. Last time she had just learned about it and they kind of threw her on the stand. So from what I can tell, Dr. Russell is definitely holding her own. And I think that she's going to continue. However, today we had something strange to happen. The defense brought up something of it. Well, I'll tell you about in just a second. And it basically, there were facts that were not in evidence. So, send the jury back out. And briefly, I think this jury is probably getting exhausted. They're sent out so often, it's taking their time. Public service, and I don't know what the jurors are paid there. I noticed that, I believe it's Idaho or Arizona that's paying them like $350 a day and providing, you know, the other things, food and whatnot. So I think that's more reasonable citizens and to perform their service to society. So I think these jurors are probably getting exhausted. Back to the topic. Alessi, oh goodness, which attorney for Karen Reed, made his case that this trial needs to be a mistrial because on cross, as you know, you're only allowed to cross those topics that were brought up in the case in chief with the defense. And hopping down this road definitely sideswipes everything and sends us down a rabbit hole. So there was a lot of back and forth. There was voir dire. And basically, after all that, Judge Cannoni said that the trial would continue. It's not going to be a mistrial, a little more limited on what they can say. And honestly, I was wondering if they were able to strike that and let the jury know those facts are not in evidence. So the last thing that you heard, not to consider. Honestly, it's a crazy mess. And my reaction is the Commonwealth of Massachusetts were very sloppy, and it's showing in this trial. So it's sad that this is our second trial. One of the things that comes to mind as I'm reacting to this is the cost of that's going to Karen Reed and her family for defending themselves well in another trial, which could be a hung jury again. That's very rare, but these facts and the way that they were handled, there's so much that we really don't know, and it's possible I could see in the jury deliberation room a couple being not going to be moved and bought everything or most everything that the Commonwealth put down. And then I can definitely see a handful of people that are like, there's reasonable doubt. They didn't prove their case. So I can definitely see it may be deadlocked. However, this second trial, in my opinion, is smoother. It's both sides have had the opportunity to really review and make revisions and be careful about the number of people they're calling. Of course, we're on the 26th day. So I hope you'll join me again on another reaction. And I'm not an attorney. Just want to make sure that you understand that. I'm a speech language pathologist, and I've worked in the schools in Texas, and so I'm semi-retired in that regard, and putting so much time into the flower garden, and I just enjoy that time in the soil. So thanks, and I'll see you soon. The second part is Lori Vallow, and if you've been following this trial, which I'm assuming most of you, her trials, this is her third trial, I'm assuming if you're interested in this video, you know some about Lori Vallow. Yesterday, it was crazy. We saw her being wheeled in a wheelchair, and they're in the phase of selecting the jury. So, it didn't go very well for her, and I'm just going to say my reaction is she's extremely manipulative. Usually I give people the benefit of the doubt, but the more I've learned about her, I've realized that, you know, it is what it is. The reason I say that is because there were two, well, she brought forward she wanted to have the judge removed from the case. She felt like he was biased, and he handled her well in court. In fact, he went ahead and said, "Are you done?" Because she went on and kind of raised her voice more and more, trying to argue her case. And so he ruled that he was not going to recuse himself from this case with Brandon Boudreaux. He's the person that her niece Melanie was married to, and there was an attempt on his life, and he survived it. So I really feel like she is not wanting to face someone that survived the attempt on his life. And then she went to a higher court requesting that this judge be removed from her case. That was denied. And so when she came in the wheelchair, and I think pretended, this is my reaction, you don't have to believe it, pretended she was so sick. His first response was to make sure that she understood that he would be her attorney no matter what. I mean, he would be her judge, no matter what. And earlier, there was some talk of, if it went later, that he was going to need to attend a conference and may not be the judge. But now he assured her no matter what, he was going to be her judge. So she claimed she was so sick. My hand's shaking. She claimed that she was so sick that she couldn't move out of the wheelchair into the chair, the defense table. And again, they had to send the jurors home. And he has never experienced this before. The jurors are probably very frustrated, or potential jurors. I believe there are 60 and some change. I'm not sure exactly on that at the moment, but I'm sure that they are incredibly frustrated with the way that this is going. But it's really out of the judge's hands, and that's kind of odd. So there was some talk and laughter about, wow, on Wednesday, do you think she's going to request to be brought in on a stretcher? Okay, I know that's silly, but we have to laugh sometimes and go, hey, she's manipulating this process to see if she can get what she wants. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.